being realistic is holding you back from the opportunities that God has for you and the doors that He's willing to open for you. But you keep being realistic in your life, and therefore you shut those doors closed and you limit yourself from experiencing those experiences in your life. Welcome to my channel. My name is Oniara. I love to help others become a better version of themselves. So if anything that I say in this video relates to you, please remember to subscribe for more content like this and give it a thumbs up if you like this video. So let's talk about how being realistic in your life is holding you back and keeping you stagnant from experiencing things that are extraordinary because you don't believe that that's possible for you. So there's something that has kind of like triggered me is when people say like, oh, be realistic, that can't happen, be realistic. Like that really boils my blood. And it boils my blood because honestly, like what of the world that we live in is realistic? Realistic is the reality that we have chosen to live in, the reality that we have chosen to believe that we can experience, that is possible for us. So when you say be realistic, think about the fact that it doesn't really make sense because nothing about the world that we live in is realistic. Like the fact that we live on a floating ball in the middle of space, of infinite space, literally infinite space. They can't tell how big space is because it's so big and infinite. Again, like never ending. Infinite space. We're a floating ball in the middle of infinite space. Your human body was made out of like milk and eggs, basically, right? Like milk from a guy, eggs from a woman, and together they create a whole human that is yourself. So like, and you don't even have to tell your body how to create this human. Like it just knows. So what is realistic about that? And if you think about the things that we love or enjoy most in this world, like let's talk about planes and boats and cruises, right? Ask yourself, do you think that when these people came up with these ideas, oh, I want to create the inventor of the plane, which I don't know who it is, but whoever it was, when they had this idea, oh, I'm going to create a plane, this thing that flies people across, like from here to there, it flies, like, I'm sure there was a bunch of people that told him that's not realistic, that's not possible, that can't happen. Same thing for the boat, for the cruises. Oh, I want to put people floating on like something on the ocean that is so big and deep. And people were probably like, you're crazy. How are you going to make so much float on water that's so deep and so big? And all of this thing, when you first think about it now, because you've experienced it, it doesn't sound so unrealistic. But when this was first done and this idea was brought up to others, I'm pretty sure that other people were like, that does not sound realistic. And if these people would have believed them, we wouldn't have these things that we have today. We wouldn't have the pleasure of realizing or experiencing these innovations, these inventions that these people came up with, that they had ideas for. And when they first had these ideas, it might not have sounded very realistic to others or even to themselves, but something within them made them believe that this was possible. And that's what you have to work on if you're someone that's constantly saying, oh, be realistic, be realistic. Even if you're saying it to others or just saying it to yourself, that is a red flag. Look at yourself. This is an opportunity for you to look at yourself and look at where you can better yourself and stop limiting yourself and keeping yourself stagnant in some area of your life, wherever you're telling yourself to be realistic. Because being realistic is whatever you're choosing that your reality is going to be. And your personal reality is a reflection of your personality, which are your thoughts, your beliefs, and your behaviors. That's how Dr. Joe Dispenza defines it. Your personal reality is a reflection of your personality. Your personality is your thoughts, your beliefs, and your behaviors. So again, when you believe that you have to be realistic, that is the world that you're limiting yourself to experience because that's your belief. And therefore you will behave in such a way that will affirm and validate this belief. So I invite you to practice self-awareness of how you might be limiting yourself and your life experiences by being realistic. The goals that you set for yourself, because your mind tells you, oh, be realistic. Question this. Question your mind. What is realistic? What is it that your mind is telling you to be realistic about? And when it is telling you to be realistic, start realizing the limiting belief that you're holding in that area of your life and how that's holding you back from experiencing extraordinary things. Because when you don't believe that you can experience extraordinary things, you won't see that. Because again, life will validate whatever you believe. So if you believe that life is meant to be this boxed up, question the belief that is creating this saying of be realistic, or this thought of be realistic. Like really go in depth, like what is telling you to be realistic? What is it that you're afraid of? What is it that you're fearing that is telling you to be realistic? That is telling you that this is not possible for you. Is it your self-worth? Is it how you were brought up in your life? Is it trauma? Is it something that you inherited from your family, a belief that you inherited from your family? Whatever it is, identify it so that you can reprogram your mind to believe something different and therefore experience something different. You want to acknowledge whatever the root of this is so that you can reprogram this root belief. There has been studies that prove that imagination wins over willpower. So if you focus on your imagination, because when you're saying be realistic, you're not using your imagination enough. And your imagination creates the most incredible inventions that we experience in this world have been created from the imaginations of those human beings that are just like us. So you really have to question this belief of being realistic and look at yourself and practice imagining how there can be more extraordinary things in your life and how you can experience them. And when you start believing that, you'll start attracting more people around you that start telling you about their extraordinary experiences, that you start like, oh, wow, that's possible. That's amazing. I love to meet someone that has just put in my awareness that this is possible, that I can live something like this. You will start, when you start questioning these beliefs, when you start believing that extraordinary is possible, when you start believing that magic exists, when you start believing that your imagination, you are possible to bring into life in some way, shape, or form, your life will start reflecting back to you how all of this is possible. It will start opening doors for more opportunities like this, experiences like this. It will start opening doors for you to see how, again, to validate your belief that this is possible for you, that you can make this happen some way. And don't wait to start the thing or to go for the thing until you feel ready or you feel like you're completely over the be realistic thing. Go for the thing and start. And don't think that you need to have it all figured out to go for the thing or to start the thing or whatever it is that you're thinking about, that you're telling yourself to be realistic about. Go for the thing and figure it out on the way, because that's how you'll start proving to yourself that it is possible. You can make it work and you will figure it out. Because the thing is, being realistic is also limiting you from getting the blessings that you're asking God for. Because the thing is that God is wanting to provide for you, right? And it might not be in the way that you believe is the way that you are going to receive this blessing. And because you have this belief that, oh, be realistic, that's not possible in that way, then you might not even receive the blessing that God is wanting to place in your life, because you're blocking it yourself with your belief that something like that, it's not possible, or that form of you getting this blessing is not possible for you to get this blessing in that form. So I'll put an example. So let's say you're asking God for more money. But your form of getting this more money is to get a new job. And you've been applying and you haven't gotten through the new job. You still haven't gotten a new job, but the dates to pay bills are getting closer and they're getting closer and they're getting closer. But you believe that it's not realistic for you to make the amount of money that you need to make to pay your bills by the time that you need to make it, because you haven't found a job. And this is the only way that you can make the money. When you start believing like that and blocking yourself like that, you start blocking the ways in which those blessings that God is trying to provide for you, so that He can provide for you, so that you can be good for the day that you need it to, don't come through. Because again, it's like your energy is blocking that, because life God made us as creators, and we are also creating our life. And therefore, life and the creator we're co-creating with will validate whatever we believe, because we are creating whatever we believe. So when you start believing that it's the only possible way for you to obtain what you have asked for, again, in this example, this money is through a job or through a new job, then you block yourself from other ways where that money might come through, whether it's an inheritance or a gift, or again, you won a lottery or something, because you're by being realistic. Oh, let's be realistic. It's not possible for me to make all that money in 1 week, or whatever it is that you're telling yourself. That's what I'm saying. Question it. Because when you don't start questioning this stuff, it will start blocking blessings that are coming your way in ways that you couldn't even imagine, in ways that are extraordinary, in ways that you didn't know were possible. But you must do your work. And your work is not to allow fear, which is that thought of be realistic, not to allow fear to get in the way of blocking those blessings. So remember, question when your mind tells you to be realistic. Go to the root of what is making you believe that you have to say to yourself to be realistic. What is the fear? What is the trauma? What is the belief? And then reprogram that belief and start looking for validation in your life on how other things are possible, on how extraordinary is possible, on how there are things that are possible that you didn't even know were possible, and how there are things that you enjoy in your life that somebody believed in and made them come into physical form, because from their imagination they brought it into physical form because they believed that it was possible, and therefore they found a way to make it possible. And when they believed that that it was possible for them, doors and paths started opening and people started appearing to make this possible with them, because we are creators in our lives, and we are surrounded by more co-creators that we get to collaborate with, and we're all one and we're all connected. And therefore, when we start going for what we are being called to bring onto this earth, doors and everything will start opening for us to come through with that mission. So I hope this reminded you of something or helped you with something. If you thought of someone that is always saying to be realistic, share this with them. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. And remember to subscribe for more content like this.